American Folktales with Granny Franny. Hello there! I'm Granny Franny, and I love to tell stories. In fact, I have a story treasure chest filled with them. Some of the stories are called American Folktales. An American folktale is a story about people or animals that lived in a particular place or setting in the United States. People have been telling folk tales for a very long time. When you read or listen to a folk tale, you can sometimes learn something about the people who told it or the place where the folk tale came from. Some folk tales tell about a person from history. I first heard about a character named Davy Crockett when I was your age. Davy Crockett was a real person who lived when pioneers were traveling west. But in folk tales about him, Davy Crockett does all sorts of things that real people can't do. One story says that Davy Crockett rode his pet alligator to the top of a huge waterfall. People made up a wife for Davy Crockett named Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind. And the tales about her are just as wild as the ones about Davy Crockett. These stories declare that she could run faster than the fastest runner and make a lasso out of rattlesnakes. One story tells of how she was brave enough to scare away an angry bear. Some folk tales are about things in nature. For example, there's an American Indian folk tale about why stars look the way they do in the sky. The story says that Coyote watched as someone took stars out of a jar and carefully placed them in the sky. Coyote was curious, so he sneaked over to the jar and took off the lid. Suddenly, the rest of the stars flew up into the darkness of the night, landing wherever they pleased. Some folk tales are about characters that have a problem. Slewfoot Sue and Pecos Bill had a big problem. At their wedding, Slewfoot Sue jumped on Cowboy Bill's horse to go for a ride. The powerful horse bucked her high into the sky. When Slewfoot Sue came back down, her big skirt made her bounce into the sky again. Pecos Bill had a solution. He pulled her back to earth with his lasso. As people tell folk tales over the years, the stories can change a little. That's why you might hear the same folk tale told in many different ways. But there are some things in the stories that never change. The remarkable courage of Davy Crockett and Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind, the curiosity of Coyote, and the amazing riding and roping skills of Slewfoot Sue and Pecos Bill.
Click on the next activity! Did you ever hear tell of sweet Betsy from Pike, who crossed the wide mountains with her lover Ike, with 2 yoke of cattle and a large yellow dog, a tall Shanghai rooster and a 1-spotted hog? One evening quite early they camped on
Click on the next activity.
Johnny Appleseed. A folktale is a story about people or animal characters that live in a particular place. Sometimes the human characters in folktales are based on real people. But as people tell folktales over the years, they add ideas from their imagination. After a while, a character in a folktale may be doing all kinds of impossible things. We call that kind of folktale a tall tale, because it's just too big to be true. That's what happened with a folktale character called Johnny Appleseed, who is based on a real person named John Chapman. John Chapman was born in Massachusetts in 1774. When he was a boy, he got a job working in a neighbor's orchard, which is a piece of land planted with fruit trees. There, he learned how to grow apple trees. Back then, there was a lot of open land in America. John Chapman knew that people in covered wagons were going west to explore this land and build homes there. John Chapman was sure that those people would want apples once they were settled on the new land. Apples were good for making all kinds of foods, like apple pie, apple sauce, and cider, which is a drink made from apple juice. John Chapman went to Pennsylvania and gathered seeds from apple orchards and places where cider was made. He took the seeds to Ohio and planted them in the rich soil along the Ohio River. The seeds grew into small young plants called seedlings. John Chapman sold the seedlings to the pioneer families. Sometimes he traded seedlings for food or clothing. Sometimes he gave away seedlings for free. He wanted to make sure that apple trees covered the land. John Chapman grew apple seedlings for about 40 years. Thousands of apple orchards grew in Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois because of his hard work. The pioneer families built homes and planted John Chapman seedlings. Soon, the families had apples to eat and cider to drink. The pioneers were grateful. They told their children stories about John Chapman. Those children grew up and told their children stories about him too. Over time, people added their own ideas to these stories. That's how John Chapman's name was changed to Johnny Appleseed, and that's why we still have folk tales like this one. The Tale of Johnny Appleseed. One day, Johnny Appleseed had the idea to plant apple seeds wherever he went. And plant them he did, from New York to California. He had to walk far and wide to plant those apple seeds, but that didn't matter to Johnny. The skin on his feet was so thick and tough that even a rattlesnake couldn't bite through it. Good thing, too, because Johnny came across many a rattlesnake in his travels. When he wasn't planting apple seeds, Johnny played with wild animals that any ordinary man would be afraid of. People say Johnny even danced with a bear once, while all the animals in the woods gathered around to watch. Johnny wore a tin cooking pot for a hat. At night, he would leave the pot on the ground. When Johnny awoke in the morning, the pot was always full of berries, walnuts, and sweet potatoes. Folks said that animals came by at night to fill Johnny's cooking pot so that he would never be hungry. Johnny didn't always walk from place to place. One day, he floated on a sheet of ice down the great Allegheny River. It's said that he slept the whole time because he trusted the river to take care of him. Now you know the true story of John Chapman and a folk tale about Johnny Appleseed. But did you know that over the years, people have enjoyed writing many other Johnny Appleseed tales? You can read them in books, see them in movies, and hear them in songs. Maybe one day, you will want to make up a Johnny Appleseed tale of your own.
Click on the next activity.
Tree, fruit. Flowers, seedling. Flowers, seedling. How apples grow.
Click on the next activity.
Syllables with Granny Franny. Choose the number of syllables in each word as fast as you can, and I'll give Danny and Tammy more folktale books.
Play!
Unusual. Drag the right number of syllables into place under the word. Good try. 4. Unusual. Good job! I have a chest filled with unusual stories. America. 4. America. Excellent! These stories are folk tales from America. Exaggerate. Exaggerate. Good. Folk tales exaggerate things that people or animals do. Folktale. Folktale. Nice job. A folktale can be about things in nature. Animal. Three. Animal. Awesome! There's a story about an animal who put the stars in the sky. Coyote. 3. Coyote. Well done! A coyote saw someone with stars in a jar. Foolish. Foolish. Wonderful. The foolish coyote opened the jar and the stars flew to the sky. Cap. Cap. You got it. Davy Crockett was a real person who wore a coonskin cap. Alligator. 4. Alligator. Terrific! One story says that Davy Crockett rode an alligator to the top of a waterfall. Thunder. 2. Thunder. Very good. Davy Crockett's wife in the stories is named Sally Ann Thunder Ann Whirlwind. Tail. Tail. Excellent! Another tale is about the cowboy Pecos Bill. Tornado. Tornado. Awesome job! Slewfoot Sue once saw Pecos Bill riding a tornado. Horse. Horse. Fantastic! Sue jumped on Bill's horse and he bucked her high into the sky. Clever. Two. Clever. Incredible! Pecos Bill was clever, and he lassoed Sue back to Earth. Adventure. 3. Adventure. Well done! The tale of Johnny Appleseed was about the lifelong adventure of a man named John Chapman. Costume. Costume. Wonderful! Johnny Appleseed was known for wearing a funny costume, including a tin pot for a hat and a leather bag filled with apple seeds. Pioneer. Three. Pioneer. Good job! Johnny Appleseed was a real person who sold apple seeds to pioneer families. Fox. One. Fox. You got it! People said that Johnny Appleseed played with a wild fox. River. River. Terrific! Johnny Appleseed floated on a sheet of ice down a river. People. 2. People. Oh, wonderful! Even today, people everywhere love to tell folk tales. Excellent! Time's up. Let's see all of the books you earned.
Click on the next activity. Can you find 20 apples in this picture? Count by 2s to find them. Then draw some more. Done. Click on the next activity.
Folktales with Bernie the Bookworm. Match the story cards to their pictures.
Play.
Can Emily come out and play? Sarah said. Can Emily? Awesome job! Pecos Bill could ride anything, even a tornado. Wonderful! Slewfoot Sue bounced so high, she bounced all the way up to the moon. Great job! Match the story cards to their pictures. Ben hit the ball deep into the stands. It was a home run! Good! Davy Crockett kicked the earth to get it spinning again. Well done! Sally Ann Thunder was so tough that hornets nested in her hair. Sally, excellent! Match the story cards to their pictures. Carl was the best chess player in the whole school. Good job! Babe the blue ox ate 50 bales of hay a day and scratched his back on a cliff. Babe the... Excellent! Baby Paul cried so loud he scared all the fish right out of the river. Awesome job! Match the story cards to their pictures. What are you doing? Brer Bear asked. Getting rich, Brer Rabbit replied. Awesome job! Jake looked at the snow outside. Time to make a snowman, he shouted. Awesome job! Anansi the spider spun a strong web so that the leopard could escape. Nice going! Wonderful!
Click on the next activity. Pick Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett, American folktale characters. Click on the next activity.